Hello all loonies and normals, my name is Joe Silver, welcome to my channel. This week we're going to be talking about unacceptable behaviour in video games. However, this is not about the video game's content itself. This is about those players who, when they're playing multiplayer, do things that drives us all insane. So let's begin. Let's start with, for example, camping. Now, camping, to anyone who doesn't understand, does not mean going and staying in a field with a tent. Not in this case. In this case, it means that player who, instead of playing the game, just stays in one place for the whole game, for the whole time that he's in that multiplayer, and if somebody comes by, he just goes and takes them down, and then, yay, I got a kill. However, really it's just plain annoying, especially if it's spawn camping, because then it means he's doing it right where people spawn. It's basically a scummy way of getting your kills up, because it involves no skill, no actual playing of the game. You just sit in one place, ruining the experience for everybody because you can't be bothered to actually learn how to get good at the game. You know, the only skill you need to know is how to point and shoot. It is absolutely scummy. That's, you know, that is bad. Or really KOS as well. Now, I've been watching a lot of Scum lately, and okay, some would say KOS, which by the way stands for kill on sight, is acceptable behaviour because Scum, Daisy, things like that, they are PvP anyway, so if you KOS then it's accepted and so on. But then there's others who would tell you that KOS is not acceptable because it makes for it ruins their gameplay. Personally, when it comes to that myself, I would prefer that, you know, if they are going to KOS, that they KOS, because the ones that really annoy people and really ruin people's experience are the ones that one streamer I watch called the douchebaggy KOS. In other words, they pretend to be friendly, so you think, okay, I'm alright here, I don't have to, and you let your guard down, and then suddenly they go and they kill you. And it's like, because they talk to you for a bit, they get you nice and comfortable, and then they go bang. And it's like, that kind is really scummy. So I think, honestly, while I don't like KOS, I personally think, you know, that's just plain rude. You know, you go up and you're saying, hello, don't worry, I don't want any trouble, bang. Well, that was rude. But if you're going to do it, do it. You know, do it that straight away so that people can sort of see what's coming and react to it. But, you know, again, is it really? Well, not in my books. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't play a lot of these violent multiplayer games, but I have watched a lot of Scum, and I've seen this behaviour, and I just look and I just think, you know, well, that was just plain rude. So, you know, but at the end of the day, it's that. But the one that really gets me, is the ones who instead of grinding for items themselves, will wait and watch until you've grinded for items. You will spend half an hour looting a base, and they're camped near that base. So it comes back to camping again. But they will do that, right? Not to get kills, but to get items. Which is why I put them separately. Basically, you have had to grind for items. You've had to, if for example you're playing Scum, which by the way, in case anybody hasn't seen Scum yet, you are a prisoner, you're put on an island, it involves PvP, it involves PvE, because there are puppets. They are zombie-ish, but they're not zombies, because the technology on the back of their head, that's what's controlling them, so they are like puppets rather than zombies. However, minor distinction. The point is, at the end of the day, they come towards you and they attack you. Point is, you're on an island with them. You're on an island with mechs who guard the military zones, which means getting loot out of them is harder. And you are on there with other prisoners who, because it's PvP as well as PvE, as well as survival based, because it's supposed to be sort of survivally as well, because it's got all the stats for about food and needing the toilet, yes, in Scum you actually have to poo and pee. I honestly don't think that mechanic should be in there. I think that's a little too far survival wise, but that's for another time. The point is, you have to do this. So you have had to go through all of this. You've fought off a dozen puppets. You've almost got yourself killed by the mech more than once because you're trying to get into a military zone. You go inside and the person who I'm talking about isn't in there. They let you go in and you root around, you get all this excellent gear, you're kitted out perfectly. You come out, you manage to avoid the mech, you just leave the fence and bang! You're dead. Somebody who was sitting there camping with a sniper rifle, with a Dragunov or whatever, which they managed to do, which is about the only loot they managed to pick up because they don't care. Or they picked it up from the last guy that they KOS'd, you know. Then suddenly they come down and suddenly now they're all kitted out because they've raided your body and taken everything that you worked for an hour or half an hour to get. It is scummy behaviour. Get your own flipping loot. Actually do some of the work. Get it yourself. It's scummy behaviour. And I mean, I know it's an irony the game's called Scum, but you get my point. It's scummy behaviour. It's not, it ruins the experience for everyone because if you've spent an hour trying to get past these guys, you think, right, I'm set now, I can survive now. And yet you can't because there's people out there who go out of their way to troll you and to make your life miserable. Why, people? Why? Come on. Play the game the way it was intended. Now, okay, you could say about Scum, but isn't PvP intended? And maybe it is. Maybe that was part of the thought process. But there is PvP and then there's PvP. I mean, there's doing it like where you show yourself and you fight and you have a good fight between you and maybe you get a few shots off, he gets a few shots off. He just happens to be better than you that day and he just happens to win. There's that, and then there's I'm going to hide in the bushes, you're not going to see me, and I'm going to kill you and take all your loot that you worked so long for. Now this is not me getting salty about this, because as I said, not only do I not play Scum, I only watch it, but even if I did, at the end of the day, if he's killed you, and it's like, okay, well that was rude, but let's move on. At the end of the day, you have to accept it. It was rude, it was a bit scummy, and you just have to shrug your shoulders and move on, because if you don't, you will get salty, you will get angry, and then that goes back to my last week's vlog about toxicity in video games, and that's not good either. Accept it, move on. But my point is this: are you really, how can you be said to be good at the game if you get all your loot by waiting outside of military zones and killing people as they're coming out who don't even know that you're there? Come on, play the game, play it properly, have a bit of showmanship, have a bit of fair play, shall we say. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's many people who will say, but this and but that, and you're free to do so. I always encourage people to talk about my vlogs in the comments below, because for me, making my vlogs, one of the biggest thrills for me is getting comments back from people who actually talk about what I talk about and give their side of the story, because I can talk to a camera all day I really can. I actually once spoke for about a subject for so long my camera switched off and went to sleep. So some of the vlog didn't record. However, so you know, the point is, yes, I can do that. But at the end of the day, if I talk about it to a camera all day, all I'm doing is giving my opinion. What I really like is when people give me comments back saying, this is my opinion of this particular subject. So I do want your opinions on whether or not what you know, and for those, especially for those of you who have actually played these games, played Scum, DayZ, you know, any of these games that involve PvP, you know, what's your opinion? What do you feel about the fact that somebody... Because, I mean, like I said, grinding for items is a real pain in the neck anyway, I should imagine. If you're having to go through all that to get a really good item, and you, like I said, you've been at it for hours, maybe even days, grinding, you know, trying to get the loot that you want, and then somebody just comes along and goes, right, I'll have that, thank you very much, bye-bye. And they haven't been going at it for hours, they've just been at it for 2 minutes because they've literally just managed to get themselves enough just to be able to do that. And then they get fully kitted out and it's like, ha 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 ha, look at me, aren't I cool? And it's like, no, not really. You stole that from somebody else. So, that is my opinion on that anyway, is that it's scummy behaviour, and you know, there is a way of playing these games that doesn't involve that. However, anyway, I have talked up the subject until I have nothing left to say on it. So therefore, if you have a comment about it, leave it in the comment section below. If you liked what you have seen here, please leave me a like and leave me a sub. Talking of that, and you won't hear me do this too often, but talking of that, I have decided that since I hit my goal of 100 subs, if and only if I reach 200 subs, I will go on Twitch, I will go on that platform, and I will stream for an hour. If I'm going to do it, I will drop the link to my thing in the description of the video when I'm going to do it, that tells you when I'm going to do it. So I won't this week because I'm not yet, but if I get to 200 subs, I will go on Twitch, and for an hour at this time, when I can talk and when I can actually respond to you guys, I will be there. And if you come in and you say to me and give, you know, this is the question I want to ask you, I will actually answer it. I will do a live version of vlogging, only this time it wouldn't be about whatever subject you want to ask me. Primarily it'll be video games, and I might even stop until people get there by picking a subject to vlog about for like the first 10 minutes or so until people start to come in. But for once people start to come in, you will be allowed to ask me anything within reason and I will answer it. That is, if I get to 200 followers, 200 subs. Now at the moment I'm not there, I'm at 117. However, if we can make it happen, if I get to that big number, this is what I will do. Now, as I said, if you like what you've seen here, leave me a like, leave me a sub, and leave me a comment down below saying that you liked it. If you have an opinion about what you would like to hear me talk about next week, let me know, because I always welcome people who give me subjects, because quite frankly it gets tough sometimes finding video game topics that I either haven't already covered or perhaps haven't thought about in the past, and therefore don't really have an opinion on it. It gets difficult to find ones that don't fall under those categories. So I'm certainly welcome any suggestions. However, as I said, I have rambled on enough. I have been Joe Silver. This has been a vlog. Goodbye.